Siemens, Microsoft, AMD, and Tesla all to the upside, as well as Coca-Cola after beating estimates and bumping up its annual outlook, with movie theaters and restaurants picking up. Bitcoin, though, tumbling about 6%, and we're also learning for the first time since spring, Americans bought fewer durable goods. Sales down in August, 0.4% from the month before for those big ticket items such as cars and computers. Dave?
Lily, the price of oil is dropping today more than $1, back to about $83 a barrel, while gas is up a 29th straight day. Another half penny. AAA's national average for regular is now a fraction over $3.39 per gallon. Los Angeles is getting ready to pay people again in another program aimed at fighting poverty.
The almost exclusively Democrat-led L.A. City Council has approved what's being deemed the Big Leap, or Basic Income Guarantee Los Angeles Economic Assistance Pilot Program. That means the nation's second largest city will give away monthly $1,000 payments for a year to as many as 3,000 residents, no strings attached. The program is similar to a previous effort launched last year that gives away $1,000 in monthly payments to 1,000 people for 3 years. Tom Graham, Fox News.
Baseball's World Series resumes tonight after the Braves struck first.
Valdez just trying to fight to stay in the game. This one is a rocket into left and gone. 5-0 Atlanta here in the third inning.
Adam Duvall's home run helped seal it for the Braves on Fox, beating the Houston Astros 6-2. But Jorge Soler's in the first was historic. He was the first batter to lead off Game 1 of the World Series with a home run. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
In 1 minute. WPTV First Alert Weather on WSTU is brought to you by Code Red Roofers. Code Red Roofers cares and calls you back. Shows up and finishes on time. 287-2829. Code Red Roofers, the roofers who respond. Now here's the First Alert meteorologist.
Lots of sunshine out there today. Warm, but less humid. Highs in the middle 80s. Low temperatures tonight under fair skies, low 70s. Tomorrow expected to cloud up and showers and thunderstorms. Some could be strong to even severe as a cold front approaches. Highs in the mid to upper 80s. Then cooling down by the weekend with highs only near 80 and lows in the low 60s. I'm WPTV First Alert meteorologist James Whelan for WSTU 1450, Martin County's Heritage Station.
You are listening to WSTU, Stewart, Jensen Beach, Hope Sound, Martin County's Heritage Station.
It's time now for the Casey Ingram Show on WSTU. The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time to call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788, 220-WSTU. And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Well, good morning, Stuart, and happy Wednesday. Another beautiful day here in the Treasure Coast, and I have a couple really good shows on tap for you today. But before we get into the shows, I have to thank my sponsors. First of all, Forbearances, working remotely, internet shopping, retail space, and rental income have been hit hard by COVID. If you're looking to restructure your debt, obtain financing or equity, Commercial Mortgage can help you out. Tim Mullen at Commercial Mortgage has been providing debt restructuring services since 2003. Tim never charges a front fee, and all consultations are free. Tim only gets paid if he provides you a debt workout. Looking for a debt solution or financing? Give Tim a call.
CBS Health Watch sponsored
872-6099 or visit commercialmortgagellc.com to schedule your free consultation. And of course, Indiantown Marina. This is like one of the best little marinas here in Martin County because it is super safe. It's out in Indiantown and very well protected hurricane hull. But they also have a do-it-yourself and full-service boat yard. And they do electrical, mechanical, prop, shaft work, bottom painting, complete boat painting, boat sitting, and so much more. So if you need a place to store your boat or work on your boat, give the good folks at Indiantown Marina a call, 772-631-3272, 631-3272. And also, don't forget to check out the Fish House Art Center. That's in Port Salerno. They have a little marina. They have craft beers and wine and art gallery, boat charters. There's just so much going on fun at the Fish House. And what's really fun about it is they're going to be having ghost tours. So give them a call about the ghost tours. It's a separate phone number, but Halloween, I know, is coming up. Ray's getting frightened over here. Saturday nights at the Fish House Art Center, 772-221-5482. That's 221-5482, and check out those ghost tours. So in the studio for the first half hour, I'm very excited about this show. I have with me Mr. Robert Restino, and I was speaking with Rob a few weeks ago, and we started talking about the internet and privacy, and he started talking about there's search engines and ways to be on the internet that is safe and secure for the whole family. And I said, you have to come in and share some of this information. So Rob was after high school graduation, he became a United States Marine, and he served for 4 years in the infantry before beginning his career as a financial advisor. After 9/11, Robert felt called to serve his country once again, and he reenlisted and served 2 tours of duty in Iraq. In total, he's a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, 1 deployment to Europe, 1 deployment to Asia, and 2 deployments to Southwest Asia, which was Iraq. But today, he's here to share with you how you can use the internet more safely and securely. Rob Restino, thank you so very much. I know you're also founder of Pinnacle Financial down there, so you're very involved here in the community, but I appreciate you wearing the internet safety hat today and coming in to share the listeners a little bit more about what you found out. And a lot of this happened through COVID as you were researching COVID.
Yes.
And realizing
Absolutely.
What you were finding on the internet.
Yes, and I'll lean back quickly on what we're trained in the Marine Corps and the military in general, which is, what are the things that mankind need? What do we need? And it's very simple. We need water, we need food, we need shelter,
Right.
and we need a sense of security. And what that was in early man's day was a bunch of guys with spears making sure nobody ate you or nothing ate
Right.
you.
Right.
and the tribe survived. But technology has really moved us to a different stage of security, where you need a sense of security, and that is on the internet because it's full of your information. And that's your survival actually can depend on that. Your financial survival, everything can depend on it. Because when you click on agree to terms and services, in most cases, you've just given all of your information away. You've just given them, whoever it is, you're looking up a water heater because it just blew.
Right.
But they say before you can learn the specs on this water heater, you have to agree to our terms and services. That could be all of your information able to be sold to other people. And who's buying and selling your personal information? Is that a secure feeling?
No, it's not a secure feeling. Rob, you talk about this, and I can't tell you how many times it almost seems like I'm talking with somebody about an item, but I might research it real quick on the internet, and all of a sudden it's popping up in my email. It's popping up on ads. It's everywhere.
Yes.
Anything related to that one little topic, and it's very disconcerting to me.
And it's something because you're being surveilled by corporations, mostly by artificial intelligence. Our cell phones are sitting here. There's any microphone can be accessed by whomever, government agencies, whatever it might be, and listen to you. But it's typically AI, artificial intelligence with very sophisticated systems of isolating keywords and so on. Corporations do it all the time, and that's why you do see ads pop up. Just you're driving in the car and you're talking, and then the next thing you know, on your husband's phone pops up an ad of something you were just talking about.
Right.
You didn't even do a search.
We didn't even do a search.
Your phone just listened to it, and there it is.
Rob, that has happened so many times, and I'm like, how is this possible? And that's just it. They're listening.
You're being barraged by that now, and that's not at all a secure feeling. All right,
it's not.
It's more than an insecure feeling. It's an attack on your psyche.
It is. Again, we're speaking with Rob Restino about safety on the internet and being able to surf securely. If you have a question or comment for Rob, I'm watching the Facebook live feed on my Facebook page, The Casey Ingram Show, or you can call into the studio, 772-220-WSTU. That's 220-9788. Rob, you talk about different layers of the internet,
Yes.
surface, deep web, dark web. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, there's is there a graphic that we could throw up there for the Facebook people?
Yes, it's on there.
Okay, good. So you'll notice on that graphic that most of everything that we're talking about is the top 10%. It's a picture of an iceberg, and the top of the iceberg, or the tip of the iceberg, is where we all operate. All these search engines, everything that we do, websites and so on. And that's really where all of this is happening. 90% of the other 90% is referred to as the deep and dark web.
Okay.
Okay, and the deep web is all approved access information, medical records, bank records, huge amounts of transactions occur in the deep web, but it's by authorization only. You have to have passwords, you have to have double, triple authentication, and so on. So it's, and then you go to the dark web, which is somewhere we don't want to go, because in the dark web you find the worst of the worst. That's where the hackers operate, cartels, pornography that is beyond what we even want to think about, human trafficking, and so on. There's also some good does occur in the dark web, which is where whistleblowers will utilize that, because they'll have information that can't be thrown around on the surface. It'll get picked up.
Okay.
So ABC Corporation's dumping green fluid into into a lake, and
they can whistleblow it.
They can whistleblow it under there. So
and folks, for you that are just listening, again, it's exactly as Rob described. It's an iceberg, and it's like the Titanic. They only saw the very top of that iceberg, but the deep and the dark web are below the waterline, so to speak. So that's what you really can't see.
Yeah, and it's something, and real quick, that's our information, so getting back to having a sense of security, that's our secure information that we're dealing with on this surface, and it gives people a sense of security. So I'm just going to touch on mainstream media, which people, many of your listeners may find comfort in, but they should not. They should not be at all comfortable. It doesn't matter what channel they're watching, if it's CNN, if it's Fox News, if it's anywhere in between. I would encourage everybody to immediately stop watching, because it's just programming.
It's entertainment, as I find, Rob, anymore. It's not truly news.
Yeah, but people find comfort in watching people that they like listening to.
Right.
But those people that they're listening to tell them what the media or message controllers tell them to tell you. So.
They do, and if you watch for a day, you'll find it's the same story being repeated over and over. There's so much news in the world, and we receive so little of it.
Yeah, and so it's not, 60 Minutes is not 60 Minutes anymore.
Right.
No. When we grew up as kids, 60 Minutes was like, whoa.
News story, that's right.
Serious stuff. Now,
entertainment.
They're along for the ride. And there are people that influence that, and we've got a great commercial I pulled off of Michael Yon, who's a fantastic combat correspondent, Green Beret, left the Army and went into combat correspondence, and he's got a great channel on Michael Yon on locals.com. But if you'd play that'd be
Ray,
super.
if you could cue up Pfizer.
CBS Health Watch sponsored by CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer.
Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now with
everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, and probably on any of those programs, they were not reporting on the latest VAERS data, right?
Right, no.
The latest, vaccine
negative reports on
negative reactions to,
right.
to these so-called vaccines, right? But again, these are so your programming is bought and paid for by Pfizer. So your messaging is bought and paid for by Pfizer in this case.
Right.
Whoever else is paying for it. So, why is Project Veritas, who does undercover reporting, which is what 60 Minutes used to do, is now James O'Keefe's Project Veritas.
Right.
Why is that not on MSN? Well, I think we just learned.
That's exactly right. It's not supported by Pfizer.
No, it's not.
Or whoever the company of the day happens to be.
Because he's reporting on Pfizer.
That's right.
But social media has never really been a secure place for me because, it's just always been a little bit odd for me. But
well, we found out it's very censored, and people, I call them keyboard warriors. You start giving an opinion on social media and it turns into this terrible fight and just it becomes horrific. It really does. The name calling and just I agree, it's not a real good place to be. I call it a necessary evil for me right now. I mean, you have to be on social media to get we're on Facebook right now, Rob, to get your message out. But
we might not be after that conversation, right?
You're right.
But it's interesting because you're right. It's a platform that says this is not allowed. And which is censorship, right?
It is.
So,
it truly is.
If you're on any platform, Instagram or whoever it is, and they say you can't say that, you shouldn't be on that platform because that's not free speech. That's not American. That's not what we stand for.
It's not anymore.
So you're not getting the whole story, and somebody doesn't want you to know something if it's been banned, right?
Right.
So if you're talking about the shot or whatever it might be,
absolutely.
They're banning you, right? So I moved once. I've had experience in psychological operations in Iraq. So when COVID or after Event 201, and your listeners can look up what Event 201 is. I'm going to give some search engine examples of where to find Event 201. What it was, and it was a dress rehearsal for COVID. So right after Event 201, I moved to a uncensored social media platform called Minds.com, like the mind in your head, Minds.com, and that is uncensored. You can build your own profile, but.
So Minds.com, what platform would you compare that to that people typically know? Like, is it like a Facebook?
It is
where
like
you
a
can
Facebook.
interact?
It is like a Facebook. The difference is, and again, this is where you have to have the self-discipline to depart from knowing your friends and family and everybody and getting away from all the anger and things that people, people get crazy on there. And it might be some of your own family members. So
it's true.
So you leave that environment and you go into an environment where you're speaking to people all around the world, all around the country, and you can build a profile and select different people that or channels that pique your interest. But you're dealing with complete strangers. But you might have differences of opinion, like minds. But you're not going. I have not run into any difficulty with anyone because most most people that are on Minds.com have escaped Facebook. Okay, so we're all like refugees.
Good way to put it,
but it's a great thing because you create your own world there. You get intelligence from everywhere. Okay, so I visited with some clients the other night, or some prospective clients, and the topic of Australia came up. And they had no idea, not a clue as to what was going on in Australia. And I think we have a video of that, don't we?
We do. We can kick that video up, Ray, if you could.
We are a proud liberal democracy. We believe in a world order that favours freedom and that supports the dignity and free expression of all people. We believe in human rights, in gender equality, and the rule of law, and we back that up with how we pursue these things in our own country, in our own society, and how we raise our own children. Australia was one of 8 countries only involved in the drafting of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and we continue to strengthen the international human rights system. And we will continue to raise our voice on important issues like the rights of women and girls, the rights of Indigenous peoples, because respecting the rights and freedoms of the individual is intrinsically important. It is fundamental to our values as a people and as a nation. It lifts all societies and nations too, delivering better outcomes through economic inclusion.
So if you get vaccinated, there will be special rules that apply to you.
Women's empowerment, environmental sustainability, rising living standards, and so much more. Australians' actions are guided by our belief in the inherent dignity of all people, everywhere, no matter the circumstances. Mr. President, we learned through the pandemic that every moment of challenge requires us to think anew, to engage with each other, to learn as you go. It is an experience understood by many others. And so we will continue to meet this moment with dialogue. Thank you, Mr. President.
You know, for those of you that are listening on the radio, you couldn't see the video, and I encourage you to, you can go to Vimeo or YouTube afterwards to see the show. You'll see that video clip. The words did not match the video that you were seeing. What's happening in Australia since COVID is mind-boggling, devastating. There's a lot of violence there, people getting arrested. I'll let you go into it a little bit more, Robert.
Yeah, and it's good that we're speaking about it because, again, if people do view this and they see what's going on in Australia, it's a good thing for people to see it because then they will have a greater sense of security because they will say, whoa.
That's right.
Okay, because Australia, gave up their guns about 15 years ago, and that's the only reason this is happening.
People can't defend themselves.
They can't defend
themselves. Don't have the
themselves.
Second Amendment.
So that's that's an important thing. The same thing is happening around the world right now in countries, and people have no idea that France is blowing up, Italy is blowing up because of the Green Pass. So you're going to be a second-class citizen. The Green Pass, the vaccine passports, it's all about controlling us as they do in China. So.
Which is what they're trying to do here. I mean, honestly,
Exactly.
Right now, the Biden administration is trying to mandate, and he has for companies over 100 employees. There's
Right.
a lot of pushback, thank goodness, that our government should not be mandating and showing a vaccine pass.
There is, but there's not, in my opinion, there's not enough. Not enough because you're a second-class citizen. People are losing their jobs. They're getting fired.
Yes,
in
they
this pandemic or so-called pandemic. We're able to fire people for.
They are, and I will give a shout out to our Martin County Sheriff Snyder. He said that will not happen on his watch. He is not. It's up to the employees. He's not going to fire anybody for not getting a vaccine.
Well, I tell you what, we don't have much time, so I'm going to go real quick into the
search engines.
Yes, into
Yes.
the search engines.
This is super important, and Rob, we are going to get through these regardless of time, because I think they're very important. This is what people have been waiting for. Where can we go on the internet? What can we use as search engines to get information?
Okay, so these are just a few, and bluecactus.com is a good place to go. Bluecactus.com. And you will find maybe 30, 40 different search engines, and they'll explain what they do. But the one that I'm using right now is Medgar.org, not Medgar.com. Medgar.org. It's a nonprofit organization. It does not censor information, and it does protect your privacy. So you're going to find Dr. Robert Malone there, who's been banned from YouTube, all but erased from Wikipedia. He's the inventor of the mRNA technology that's being used in this shot. Dr. Kerry Mullis died of pneumonia, a very healthy 74-year-old man, Nobel laureate, and the inventor of the PCR test. And he was also the biggest critic of Anthony Fauci. And you can look up on the internet what Kerry Mullis used to say about Fauci, aside from fraud.
Right.
But those people are being, any information that they have is being banned. You'll find it on these search engines.
Let me stop you for 1 second.
Sure.
Metager is METAGER.org. META, Metager, GER.org. And Dr. Carrie Mullis, the last name is MULLIS.
Correct. And, Google, YouTube, they've all censored them. It's really a poor job of propaganda against two men with strong opinions that are opposite of those of the CDC, FDA, White House, whomever. SwissCows.com is another one. That's a family-friendly search engine. It absolutely hates pornography and violence. So I'm actually going to be suggesting this to my kids' school to be using as a search engine versus Google.
Oh, and Rob, it's so important. SwissCows.com, just exactly what it sounds like. One word, SwissCows.com. I have a 12-year-old, and the same thing. They stumble upon things on the internet when they're doing a Google search. I mean, things they are not looking for, and all of a sudden, porn or whatever comes up that they should not be seen, and not their fault. Right. So this is SwissCom.com, very family friendly.
Another one is Duckduckgo. It's a very popular site. Great engine for less censorship. However, it does fall in a United States jurisdiction. So these search engines have jurisdictions. The ones we just mentioned obviously are in Europe, and privacy is a greater issue over there. Here, not so much, in that I believe it's due to the Patriot Act, these search engines have to, if the intelligence agencies want information, they got to give it up. So, some people are uncomfortable with that. That they're being surveilled by corporations to sell them sneakers and whatever else, or that school board people going to school board meetings are now labeled terrorists,
and they're using the Patriot Act to
now you have the intelligence agencies tracking your stuff. Browsers are kind of a steering wheel for these search engines. So there's a few browsers I'd mention. Brave is a good one. It's a U.S. company, but doesn't fall under the same standards. Searx, SEARX, and Metager also has a search engine. Again, just a few of many.
And folks, these are very easy to download. After I spoke with Robert about internet security and safety, I downloaded DuckDuckGo. It's super simple. It brought over my bookmarks.
Yep.
So it's not
exactly.
You don't have to start all over. You just have to go to DuckDuckGo, and now you have a new search engine. Same thing with Brave. It's like it's like a Chrome.
It is.
Safari. That's basically what your browser is, and you can just download Brave, and it works the same way.
Yes. And there are more. Vivaldi's another one that's great. I believe that's a French one. But video channels also. Alternatives to YouTube are Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, and a growing field of others. YouTube obviously censors and bans information, and that's just not what Americans are about. Email, I'll touch on real quick. I use Protonmail. It's an encrypted email system. It was developed for the CERN employees and scientists that were underground working on the super collider, and then they brought it to the surface, and you pay a few bucks a month for it. And then instant messaging. This is really important because if you're talking about a sense of security, your phone can get hacked all day long.
Right.
All right, and there are your text messages. So instant messaging, there's Telegram, Signal, Threema. Those are all good systems to use. They're end-to-end encryption. Some people use WhatsApp. I'm not totally clear on that, but you have to change your discipline from the ease of texting. If you don't want to be easily hacked and need to have your trusted contacts join these different apps so that you can communicate. And you'll find that you're not getting spammed. I mean, how many text messages do you get from AT&T, and it's not really AT&T, is it?
And just strange numbers.
It's a hacker, right?
Yeah, even strange numbers, and there'll be 50 other numbers they're sending it out to.
Hit this link so you can claim your prize.
Right.
You're not going to get any of that.
No, you're not.
So those are really the good things, but the freedom of information is clearly what I brought this here today for.
Yes.
Because people are not being informed.
We were finding out even on some of the main search engines, mainstream search engines, you were searching for information and it didn't bring all the information back to even be able to read it.
No.
It was censored. So they kind of were providing information they wanted you to believe and wanted you to know, but not 100% of the facts. So that's where these other search engines, they're putting all the information out there.
Yeah, and use a
Good
lot
or
of,
bad.
use a few of them to make sure you find things. You can find patents that Pfizer took out. You can find, not to beat up on Pfizer, and
right.
I'm not here to vilify anybody or anything like that, but it's a little concerning.
Right now they're on top of everybody's conversations with the vaccines.
Forcing you to take this thing or otherwise get fired.
And now they're talking 5 to 11-year-olds with the Pfizer vaccine. So it's a good thing to bring up. And, Rob Restino, thank you so much. Again,
no, it's my pleasure.
You served your country as a United States Marine.
That was a privilege.
Well, thank you for serving our country, and you're still serving today by bringing us all some very important information. BlueCactus.com.
Yeah, that's where you can find a
start.
variety of search engines, just a whole bunch of them.
Excellent. Duckduckgo, Brave. Folks, it's at the end of this show. Please share the show. Let's all get out there and really pay attention to how we're using the internet, how we're messaging, and realize that your information is being hacked.
Yeah.
And you just...
all day long.
Rob, thank you so much for bringing us these alternatives that our information can be a little bit more private, and also for the kids. That was SwissCow.com.
So important.
I don't need them seeing violence, and I don't need them seeing pornography. So
yeah, and if any of your listeners have kids or grandkids that are in public school, they should take a look at their library in the schools too.
Yes, absolutely. That's another big topic. Robert Restino, thank you so much. We ran over a little bit, folks, but I hope, no, that's quite all right. It's very important information. Next, we're going to have Commissioner Troy McDonald in the studio, and he's going to be giving us some updates on the city of Stuart. And so we will be right back after this short break.